Claudia Webbe.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. The Nationality and Borders Bill is anti-refugee to its core. It lacks basic humanity and represents an acceleration in the government's deeply damaging demonisation of refugees and asylum seekers. The callousness of the bill has been further illuminated by the situation of Ukraine. The government must provide safe passage and refuge for displaced people, refugees and asylum seekers arriving from Ukraine, as well as all theatres of conflict around the globe. The outpouring of compassion and solidarity towards people fleeing Ukraine has been inspiring. Yet when we contrast this to how asylum seekers from non-European and non-majority white countries are treated by this government, a very worrying picture emerges about the inherent racism in how crises are reported, discussed and responded to. The sorrow and despair we all feel for Ukraine should be identical to the sorrow and despair we feel for Yemen, Palestine and Syria. The media class and the UK government must recognise that every conflict is deserving of both our solidarity and our compassion. Therefore, the UK must not only rapidly extend its support for people fleeing Ukraine, but also abandon its unbelievably callous refugee and asylum policy, starting by ripping up this Nationalities and Borders Bill. Now, of course, there are many of the Lord's amendments that would improve this bill, and I especially support Amendment 4, which removes the licence given to the Home Secretary to deprive British people of their citizenship without informing them. I also support Amendment 5, which seeks to secure the effect of the bill against violation of the UK's shared international obligations under the Refugee Convention. Amendment 6, which removes from the bill the power given to the Home Secretary to treat people differently according to the manner of their arrival and claiming asylum, must also be adopted. This would prevent a two-tier system of refugee protection that limits protection not due to need but due to a refugee's method of travel. I also support Amendment 7 on permission to work, yet I believe the 6-month limit should be lifted and that people claiming asylum should be able to work regardless of how long they have been in our country. Amendment 8 and 9 are steps in the right direction, yet they do not go far enough to prevent asylum seekers from being transferred to other countries and processed offshore. Amendment 10, which would introduce a family reunion provision, is important, yet we must accept all people fleeing war, persecution and other horrors, not only those with family ties in the UK. I wholeheartedly support Amendment 54, which prohibits the use of new maritime powers contained in Schedule 8 in ways that would endanger life at sea. This is an abhorrent proposal that we must fight tooth and nail and against ever being implemented. So overall, whilst the law's amendments improve important aspects, they do not go nearly far enough to rectify this irredeemable bill. Time and again, this government has chosen to turn its back on those seeking protection from war, torture or other awful acts. This bill will compound the misery of people fleeing intolerable conditions. It must be scrapped. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Claudia.